Three, two, welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I'm your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Greg Hectus,
What's up, everybody?
Bobby Jonas,
How's it going?
Brad Wren,
Hey, hang on for 1 second. I need to do something because I heard we got a special guest tonight.
We also haven't started the recording.
Nice. He's got the tinfoil hat.
I do. Since we had an alien on the show, I figured I better be prepared.
David Hall.
Mike, we haven't even started the recording yet.
Yes, we have. Donnie Spiker.
I missed that part. Good afternoon, fellas.
John Curley.
Hey, coming at you from the dark corners of my basement.
And Robbie Swan, our special guest.
I come in peace.
On today's show, we cover the 2025 Season 2 build. We see who is attending the Sim Gaming Expo. Check out new hardware from multiple manufacturers. Help spend my money. Find out how Matt Malone's Week 13 is going and sit down with iRacing alien Robbie Swan.
That's right, Mike. And remember that you can follow along with us on your PC or your mobile device in real time as you listen to the show and see for yourself all of the great topics and products we'll discuss by visiting iRacersLounge.com. Select the show notes. We hope to see you there.
All right, Robbie, thanks for joining. I've been trying to get you on the show for a while, and I'm glad we finally got it together. Thanks for hitting me up. So we're going to go through our normal questionnaire with you, starting with, what brought you to iRacing the first time, and how did you first hear about it?
Well, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on. I've been listening for a couple years now. I found iRacing just by a simple Google search. I just Googled what's the most realistic racing game out. I know it's not a game. It's just what I Googled. And I came across iRacing, and I didn't really fully understand it. I just kind of messed around with it on my college laptop for about 3 or 4 years with like an Xbox controller, and yeah.
All right, very good. Now, what series are you normally running these days?
I think even after now that I've completed this challenge for myself, I'm still going to race everything. I just probably I like to focus on my weaknesses, so I'll probably run whatever cars I feel like I'm bad at. And yeah, I just usually go based on the track. You know, if I like the track, then I'll race what's there that week. I don't really have any series that I stick to.
Well, let's talk about that challenge. Now, you completed the challenge in iRacing called the Alien. Now, that's when you win on every car and every track. Is that correct?
Yep, I've won it in over 110 different cars in every discipline.
Holy moly. And are you, do I presume that you own all the content or no?
I do own all the content.
Okay.
Yep.
How hard is it to, like, give me a random car that was super hard to get a win in? Like, you go in there and there's a bunch of other aliens, and like, this is going to be impossible.
The first one that comes to mind easily is the Porsche Cup car. I think 24/7 there's somebody in there that's 5,000 I rating, and a lot of cars specifically make it hard because there's people that just run that car. It's their specialty. So yeah, the Porsche Cup car definitely took me the longest. I had to spend at least 2-3 weeks just focusing on that car mainly, and just kept racing, and found a win.
So when you're trying to accomplish a particular car, do you just stick with it until it's done, or do you bounce around to other cars you need to do?
So yeah, kind of. I would focus on like 2 cars at once. I would find like a track that I was particularly good at or whatnot, and I'd highlight it in the schedule, be like, oh, Porsche Cup cars are at Watkins Glen, for example. Like I really like Watkins Glen, so that week I might run Porsche Cup at Watkins Glen and then hybrids at Long Beach, and just bounce back and forth so I don't burn myself out on one car.
Now, how do you track such a thing? I mean, do you make a list, or how is that done?
I would just keep going to my awards tab and kind of just skim through what cars I had left and go back to the schedule and just see if any of those cars were running at tracks that I liked that week.
It's really an amazing accomplishment. Congratulations. I think you said you looked, and there's only a handful of people that have done it.
Yeah. Actually, I reached out to iRacing because I was curious myself, and they said I was the 7th person to ever do it.
Well, that's some elite company, and I got to say, to be able to win in every discipline, the dirt, the road, the oval, and so forth, that is saying something. I can't bring up your profile right now, but I did look at it, and your iRating is respectable on all of those disciplines.
Yeah, I didn't tank my iRating at any point. I could have took the easy road, or at least made it a little bit easier on myself, but I stayed committed and refused to do that, and then just ended up watching my iRating climb in pretty much everything but Formula. My Formula iRating crashed when I started doing this challenge.
All right, and now that challenge is completed, what's the next one that's on that list that you're looking at?
Well, it's not on the iRacing list, but there's a content creator named Duncan Watts, and as I was very close to finishing the Alien Award, a gentleman by the name of Carl Sampson reached out to me and just said, like, congratulations, I see you're closing in on this award, and I didn't understand how he'd noticed it, and then he sent me this website that Duncan Watts created that basically just shows the leaderboards, and even your own, everybody on here is on there. You can look up your name. It'll show you how many different iRacing series you've won on. So like if you've won in all the trucks and C fixed, that only counts as one series. But if you won in C fixed and C open, that's 2 series. So Carl reached out to me and said, I see you're number 2 now, and you're going to surpass me soon. So this past week I've grinded and I've surpassed him. And so now the goal is to get 2 more series wins so I can say that I have won in 100 different iRacing series.
Nice. That's a nice one. You'll have to link to our listeners here what website you're talking about so we can check it out.
I will.
Go through the rest of our questions here. What about your hardware? What are you running for wheels, pedals, etc.?
I'm running a Fanatec CSL DD 8 Newton meter setup with some just basic V3 pedals and next level racing rig, which I love.
All right. The one with the slanted uprights, right?
I'm running the FGT cockpit at the moment, but I do have the FGT Elite coming in the mail. It's already been ordered. I'm pretty excited about it.
All right. Nice. And what about your monitors or VR? What are you doing with that?
Oh, I'm a VR guy through and through. I mentioned earlier that I started out on a laptop and a Xbox controller, but I didn't really take iRacing seriously or even understand what the SR system was or anything like that until I saw that Dirt Oval was coming out. And then when Dirt Oval came out, I think I ran for like 2 or 3 races. I was like, this is so hard on an Xbox controller. I can't do this. So then I looked into what I could do, and then I got myself wheel and pedals and then VR all in one. And I think that really, really changed the game for me on my depth perception and my awareness and just my overall ability to drive. So right now I'm running Pimax Crystal Light VR, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, I think that's the de facto standard these days in iRacing anyway. Very well. Are you part of a team or a league, or is it just official racing?
Right now, I'm a member of the Racecraft Academy. They're a great group of guys that focuses on dirt road mainly, but we've got guys from all sorts of different disciplines. We're affiliated with Channel 199, who fields a couple Coke Series cars. They fielded IMSA team this past season too. So just always surrounded by better drivers than myself, which has made me much better.
All right, very good. And then, what is your most memorable iRacing moment?
That would be when I finished third in the the Racecraft Race to the Summit up Mount Washington. Um, Mount Washington's got a special place in my heart. I really love doing that hill climb, and yeah. So when I went out there and I finished third in the Race to the Summit, I kind of surprised myself. I knew I was going up against the best rallycross drivers in the world, and I put in a lot of work. But still going into the event, I felt like an underdog, and I kind of surprised myself, even though I was time trialing pretty well to perform in the moment. I kind of surprised myself a little bit, so that has to be my proudest moment.
Yeah, that's so hard. Tell us about the level of aggression that you had to have to get that third place time versus being, I'm not going to wreck this thing and run it off the side of the hill.
Well, it sounds crazy. Like you would think that there has to be like some level of restraint, but when you're racing against those guys, it's all in or nothing. So I'm pushing that car as hard as I can the entire time up the mountain because that's the only way you can win. So a few mistakes, not a perfect run, but there's no holding back when you're running an event like that.
So for me, like a non-alien, and I try to go up the hill, I get up about a quarter of the way and I go off. And then I try again, I get up about a quarter away and another 50 feet, and then I go off. And then I just repeat, and eventually I can get to the top, but it's not fast.
So for me, I think and this is an exaggeration. I think I've driven up the mountain like probably like 12 or 15,000 times. So like I can close my eyes and I can just see the whole course in my head. And that's the difference is I'm preparing for the next corner in the corner I'm in now. So I'm always setting the car up 2 corners down the path, I guess, if that makes any sense. So it's just the difference is I know every single bend and bump in that course, and you haven't made as many runs. That's all. But you should try it. You should keep going because once you get that almost mistake-free run, it's so rewarding.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I think you're channeling Travis Pastrana here.
That's a good guy to channel.
Look, he's playing with his life when he goes up that hill the way he does.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, when people do that in real life, that's a whole. I'm not even. Yeah, I can't even touch that. That's just insane.
But Robbie, the mindset is the same. He's setting 2 corners ahead. He's always on top of it. He's always on the go too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. One of my favorite Travis Pastrana quotes about Mount Washington is, "If you want to learn the mountain, just start with the parts you have to brake for."
Okay. So last question before we move on to topics. We want you to stay around for the show. With the Tempest, weather system and realistic weather and all this, and then we saw that on Mount Washington for real, they had like 100-mile-an-hour winds and they had all this rain and stuff. Have you ever thought about racing in the rain up the hill?
I can't say I have, but now that you say that, I'll probably do that tonight.
I haven't tried it, but maybe you can do it. I hope you can.
I will try it, and I will get back to you on what I can run up the mountain in the rain.
All right. Thanks for coming on the show, Robbie.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, quick question for you, Robbie. What was the last car that you got? What car did you get your final win in to get the award?
It was a wingless sprint car. That's what it was.
I was just
Pavement or dirt?
Dirt.
Okay. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, it's build week. It's week 13, and so most of our topics are going to dominate that area, starting with 20.
We lost you there.
Than a week ago.
you cut
You
out.
cut out a little bit there, David.
All right. Well, we got a blog. Tell us about it.
Well, this was before the build came out. They get us a YouTube video, showing us some of the changes, like the new Legends car, the new GTP tire changes and so forth. Yeah, just a nice primer video.
Was this the one that went deep into talking about the GTP changes and how much harder it's going to be for the first 2 laps? Or was that a separate video?
I think that was a separate one. They did put
Okay.
out a video on strictly on the GTPs.
But I really think this next one, David, Jimmy Broadbent, his video was very telling. I think that was more telling to me about what's really going on with GTP. Watching him go out and basically wreck the car over and over on the outlap because he's not used to how the tires are behaving. And so it is a handful. Now we do have a I do have a quote I want to say out loud from somebody in the forums about the tires. It said, quote, at Watkins Glen, for example, my outlap is in the order of 4+ seconds slower than the timed lap 1, which is then around a second slower than the timed lap 2. At that point, timed lap 2 is within a tenth of the best lap of a 5-lap run.
Yeah, he did this on this video. He did Daytona and Spa and tried going flat out at both the kink in Daytona and up Eau Rouge and Réunion. And yeah, you can't when the tires are cold. You just can't. And so, yeah, and he was doing it on purpose just to see how bad it would spin. And there's just not enough grip there. I haven't tried it yet, but we'll see how it goes. This video is definitely telling. Have you been following any of it in the forums as well?
Well, that post I read was Christian Challoner, one of the vehicle dynamicists, about being 4 seconds slow on the outlap. But that's pretty telling, and shows you that don't push it until these things warm up.
Yeah, Tom was asking last night if we should try double stinting tires now, but I don't think you basically have to be able to not lose 4 seconds over an entire hour or a 40-minute run for it to be worth double stinting the tires. All right, how about the ARCA cars? Donnie, do these have you excited?
Yeah, a little bit. I ended up buying the Ford over the weekend, but iRacing put out one of their hype videos for the ARCA stock cars. They got the Camry, the Chevy, and the Ford. I bought the Ford. It just feels different, obviously, than the ARCA car we're used to. It feels like a lot slower of a truck car. Maybe not a lot slower, but it'll be interesting. Haven't ran it in a race. Only practice laps around Kansas I was at. So I think I'm going to give it a go. I think I'm going to potentially sacrifice some IR and SR next season and give it a go.
Now, was that before we found your brake issue?
Actually, it was. So I haven't ran it since I redid my pedals. So
This is an IR killer, right? IR killer?
Who cares?
Yeah, good point.
I ran a week 13 race with these cars at Kansas, and it was very racy. I was very pleasantly surprised.
One of those cars, though, if you get a good track combo and you're good at it, you could farm quite a bit.
Well, like you said, if it's really racy and the numbers are high as far as participation, I might get sucked in.
Donnie, did the
Arca's-
car seem to have more grip to it?
Yeah, it's definitely more stable. It just now I got to go in there with my sliver of less brake and really feel it out. But yeah, it felt more stable for sure. And Mike, Arca always has high participation, so maybe this one might take a little bit longer to build back up to because you got to buy the car again. But this series has always been popular for whatever reason.
I hope they give us a C-Class Open series for them. Like to keep the D, to keep the other people happy with the D fix. But I think this car's got tremendous potential. I hope we get to see a C-Class Open series with some cautions.
Yeah, that would be nice. That's what kind of hurts the Arca series now is the no cautions. Basically, survival in some races.
Mm-hmm.
Related, we have the DJ EJ video with his early access to the ARCA car. I believe it was Monday morning or Sunday night. He put out this video before we got the release on Tuesday. But he goes over the car and what he thought about it after he got to run some laps. He also previewed Portland International Raceway as well, and told us what he thought.
All right. Well, we have a Instagram post showing Portland. It has arrived, and look at those curves. And is that 3D curbing, or is it just doing a good job of looking 3D?
It is 3D.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks it. The pictures are really nice looking. I don't know. I mean, what series do I run that would run on this? The IndyCar, right?
Yeah, it's a great track. I mean, I think I mentioned in the chat. I haven't run here since the R Factor days, but it's a very very good track.
You think IMSA, does IMSA ever go out there?
No, Xfinity's been out there, but I mean, they'll you know how it's going to be. They'll probably stick IMSA in there.
The
No.
IMSA schedule's been kind of stale lately. I mean, I don't really get into the voting, but it doesn't really ever seem to be anything new.
Well, wait till if you haven't looked at next season's schedule, it's just as stale as the previous.
Have they dropped that PDF yet for the schedule, or at least the unofficial version?
Yeah,
Yeah, we've got it on the script.
Oh, nice.
I'll give that topic to you, Donnie. But next, we do have a video for Portland as well.
Yeah, just a good video. Typical iRacing. New content. They make some nice videos, and it looks good. And then follow that up with a just like with the other ones, we got the Legends 434 Coupe, as we talked about last week. I guess this is replacing the original has been retired. So, and actually, not just it's done, it's gone. So now this is what you got. So, I haven't ran a Legends car since probably 2012, 2011, somewhere in that area. So,
As I have this video playing, it's almost a little bit of a sense of nostalgia because this was the rookie car back then. I remember having to run at the little Chauvel, the Charlotte Legends Oval. We can call that the Chauvel. And yeah, I almost missed that a little.
I really enjoyed running the Legends Oval series this past season. I'm yet to try these new Legends, but I'm very curious how different they feel.
they're supposed to be a ton of fun on the roadside, but I've never done one.
Oh, they are.
Is it going to feel like a decade's worth of difference? 10 years? Because that's basically the difference between the old and the new car, I think. It'll be interesting. I'll be looking for this in hosted or something like that. I don't think I'll sacrifice my IR to run it, but I'll try to run this.
All right, Donnie, I'm pretty sure you're bribing somebody at iRacing, aren't you?
I'd like to think so, but we're getting victory lanes. I have not tried this yet. I don't know why I haven't tried it yet, but it looks like at 2 tracks we can potentially access Victory Lane Dover and for sure Bristol, because there's been some video about people accessing the Victory Lane at Bristol. But yeah, so far, hey, maybe they're listening. That'd be great. We've got a lot more to work on, but the Victory Lane, we'll start with that. Have you guys tried it?
I haven't, but I need to. And I think it's more than just Dover and Bristol. I think it's any of the tracks they updated.
Yeah, I've not tried it, but Donnie, that's because I have to win.
No,
Like,
it's
you
just
could-
practice. You didn't practice, just
You
drive
can
around,
practice
check it out.
winning.
All right, I don't think we have it on the script, but I saw a video of somebody doing a jump off of the Victory Lane into the fence at Bristol.
Yeah, there's a ramp to get up on the roof where they have Victory Lane at Bristol on top of a building.
On the
And
what?
it's a ramp.
No. What are they getting up on?
It's like a building or something, isn't it?
But what's on top of the building?
You mean a
The
roof?
car. Anyway,
Never mind.
there's a ramp, and so whenever there's a ramp, guess what? People are going to jump it. And there's been probably 5 or 6 different jump videos that I've seen across TikTok and Instagram. People trying it out with the truck and the cup car and some in various different ones.
All right, so we've covered some of them, but we can go ahead and hit the rest of the build. John, you want to kick it off and tell us a little bit of the highlights?
Yeah, so we went through, I think, the big one, of course, the ARCA car. That car's been around for what, 10, 11 years. But late model stocks, some new aerodynamics on that one. You were talking about the Legends car. Actually, you can do that in the rain now. I think that'd be a lot of fun on a road course.
Yeah, 7 track overhauls: Bristol, Darlington, Dover, Homestead, Iowa, Kansas, and Vegas.
Do we have an updated list, or has anybody been keeping track of all the tracks they have updated recently? Art-wise?
New Hampshire was last build. I think that was really one of the first ones, wasn't it? To get a full refresh.
Yeah, that was her first one.
They got a long
So they
ways
got
to go.
Yeah, they got a ways to go still, but they're getting there, maybe, hopefully.
So we already talked about the GTP and the LMP2 rework. The official series redesign, it's handy because you still have the block that you can click, but they basically added an additional page. So once you're in your main series page, you can see a lot of information on there. And it's actually a little bit easier to register for the race if you know you're going to be running like mostly just one series, especially. You can also see the rules that are set from qualifying to qualifying scrutiny. All that stuff is a little bit easier to see. So that is an improvement on this particular aspect. Interestingly, I discovered on the NIS series, as we also talked about the Connection Black Flag, only select official series will have the new system that removes racers. And NIS is not one of them.
Yeah, I just checked. Like running this week on the oval side, you got CB and NIS, and it's not on any of them. So I'm not sure what it's going to be on, but I'm a little disheartened. I do want to bring up an issue with the series insights page, which I think is pretty neat, to where you can look and you can see popular times and all that. But could we please have it in whatever time zone we're in?
Local time, right?
Yeah, local time. I hate converting to GMT. It doesn't work well.
Yeah, I see 2 races on the same day, but for me, they're on different days. And so that really is like, I can't use this in the current way it is. You got to put it local time on that, or at least give it an option in the options to switch it to local.
If I'm looking at it, I see the insights. And then when I look at the top of the UI, what do I see? A little clock that says my local time. Why isn't it right on the other thing?
So what are you not seeing it as? Because I look at my start times and like this next race for Vegas is showing me 6 p.m.
No. So if you go to Series Insights, this is where you can see
Crap.
strength of field and
there.
So yeah.
Oh well, hey. I honestly thought
it
was our own time.
Every event you go to in Discord when it's scheduled, like the flying events that I do, it all automatically converts to local time. The Major Series website, everything that they do automatically converts to your local time.
It's obviously too hard for iRacing.
Don't gloss over those lighting updates. I don't know if you guys have run a week 13 race or practice during sunrise or sunset, but I think the sim looks drastically different with the lighting.
It does look
It's
better.
a huge improvement.
But I keep seeing posts about there being no lights at night tracks.
Oh, yeah, it's an issue.
I mean, it's like, come on.
I don't remember which track it was.
Vegas has like no lights.
Or the Grand. There was a road course though.
That's Vegas.
The Grand Prix, Nürburgring, I think. Where when we were running at night, there's no lights in the stands area. Like the whole track is dark.
Yeah, it's like Suzuka.
Or maybe it was Suzuka. Yeah, there should at least be the front stretch should at least be lit up.
The AI, the adaptive AI, apparently didn't make the build, is what I heard. Even though we talked about it in the initial release notes, but I tried it and no, it wasn't dynamic at all.
No, it's supposed to come in a patch. So something happened. I mean, they released a video and everything.
And I'm still confused on what we were talking about with this tire model that you had mentioned, because the way I read it, it still says they were doing some kind of change to the tire on the Cup car.
In Greg's original blog post, it said they were working on the I guess it says still work on the version 10 for Cup and Indy. So like I said, I think I misread that, and I read it like we were getting the V10, but obviously we didn't.
I read it like when you reposted it, I read it like we were getting the pre-V10, which,
yeah,
or at least some kind of, so I was expecting some kind of changes, but no changes to the tires. So
I can't wait to see Darlington, full scale art overhaul, 3D foliage, trees, everything.
Just hope the lights work.
Right.
Got new clouds. Got the new cloud model.
Well, what do you guys think? It's a pretty decent build.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it was, I don't know. I mean, I think I posted in the chat. It was a little underwhelming in all reality.
Yeah, we got 4 updated NASCAR tracks, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, and they did spend a lot of time on the GTP. Go ahead, Donnie.
I'm sorry. Why do you think when they release these builds, they put a lot of incomplete stuff out? Is it oversight? Is it a rush to get things out there to give it a perception of putting new things out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this before. It's like they'll release a track, and then 2 weeks later, we get the Flagman. It's like, what? I'm confused.
I think this is the answer. Is really has to do with the way software development works, and you're constantly trying to hit that quarterly deadline because they're doing it on a 3-month cycle basically. I don't know. When I used to be in software development, it was kind of the same thing. We would have all these different projects we were trying to get in for this build, and it was hard just to get it to a point where it was halfway acceptable to hit the date, and you didn't want it to slip. And so it's pretty normal to try to, okay, let's just get what we can get out by the date, and then we'll fix it afterwards. I mean, that to me, that feels normal in software development.
I think iRacing likes to use their members to fully test the products. I think they've kind of been lenient as far as like the quality of the cars and tracks they put out, because they don't want to have their staff spend too much time testing it. They kind of just let the stuff go out and then get the feedback from the general public and then focus on what the people want from there.
Well, but then you have instances where, like the last build with the GTP, where they
that's a big issue.
They looked like, I mean, I hate to say it, it looked horrible. I mean, it's like, was there any quality control in this? I don't know.
I don't disagree. It did look terrible, but I was at least happy to see a company own up to their mistakes and say, "My bad, guys. I'm sorry."
Yeah, I wanted to point out too. There's one other thing. It seems kind of small, but it does matter with pit stops. They've updated the logic on the auto fuel, so they've changed it from a 5 lap average to 10 laps. So, if you're used to, I don't know, if I set mine normally to 5 laps or something, I guess might need to adjust that a little bit.
So if it's based on a longer lap average, I guess that would make it more accurate, right?
It should.
Well, you know how you can cause a lot of trouble if you have to pull over to use the restroom when the caution's out. Well, at least in this case, if you pull into the pits or pull over, you don't have to go as far.
This one surprised me by Next Level Racing. That's where you ordered your cockpit from, Robbie. But they put up a social media post where the guy is on VR on a racing rig in a restroom, and the rig is set up like literally to the left of the toilet. Now, what's disturbing to me is not the guy racing in the bathroom, but really the guy that has his pants down sitting on the toilet right next to him.
Well, it's a video, so if you watch it, it's a little bit more than that.
Yeah, later on in the video, the guy that's racing is actually sitting on the throne.
Yep, I see.
Oh
That
my!
would definitely take care of the problem. But now he's shifting. Oh yeah, he's shifting with the toilet cleaner instead of the shifter.
Yeah,
Better watch out.
Next
Watch
Level
your.
Racing.
And he's in VR, so he might, in that particular situation, he might really end up grabbing the wrong thing.
So Robbie saw this advertisement. He's like, "Take my money, sold."
No,
If
they're
you
definitely
really
not
take a
afraid to
look,
take
though,
risks.
I don't think it's plugged in. You see the white plug just sticking out.
It might not be too safe, around water and all, in the
It's fake
bathroom.
news. It's fake news. All right, John. What about this AI that might need more training?
Yeah, it might. And I didn't know about this. I guess but Jordan Worth posted on X, remembering years ago when the super late model AI couldn't process a right turn. So he shows a clip of some super late models on a road course, and when they would turn right, the car would go up on the left side and flip over. I that must have been before my time, but it's pretty funny to watch these cars flying off the track.
Crazy. They go up on the left side tires and are able to go around the corner on 2 tires before they actually roll over.
I mean, you'll see a car lift the left or the right front every now and then, but this is a bit extreme.
So this next video is the most extreme case of net code I've ever seen, but it's a little tricky because if you watch the video on the right, you can see an actual collision, whereas the one on the left, it looks just ridiculous.
Yeah, which makes me wonder: are these videos from two different users? Because that's typically what happens.
Well, or one is a playback and one is actually during the race.
Played
The-
back at a
Playback.
different time.
Though the way that car stops though is also kind of freaky. The one on the right doesn't look like a natural deceleration.
Well, the guy in the front hits the wall, and then the guy behind him basically gets wrecked. But he's a car length back.
Yeah, if a wreck happens to me like that left video, I don't know what happens. I don't know if I come back on for a while, I take a couple weeks off or what, but that would frustrate the heck out of me.
Yeah, the one on the right, the guy warps as well. You can tell that he was supposed to be further in front of him, so that was just really, really bad netcode. The worst ever. for sure. I wonder if either one of them were failing the network connection and would have been kicked out otherwise.
That is, if it's a series that supports that, which I have a feeling they're going to be far and few between.
But they probably are rolling it out limited to make sure it works. Right? Kind of like everything else. All right, Mike, tell us a little bit about Caruso's domination in Porsche Tag Heuer.
That's right. The mid-season is in the books. The race at the Sachsen ring delivered thrilling heats at a nail-biting feature race. Huge congrats to Jordan Caruso on his dominant performance, with Xander Reed and Mitchell de Jong rounding out the podium. Competition is heating up as we head into the second half of the season. Big applause also to the wildcard winner, Connor Brown, for keeping up with the pros. I didn't see the race.
I didn't either. Unfortunately, William's not here tonight. So, but as far as points through the fourth round at Sasha Ring, we've got Cooper West still in the lead with 221, followed by Jordan Caruso, who's now in second with 192. Mitchell DeYoung, 175. Kevin Nielsen, 173. And then fifth is Alejandro Sanchez with 162. So, yeah, this was heat races and stuff, and it's interesting. I just didn't get a chance to see it.
You know,
So which ones of them are in the playoffs?
so Sebastian Job, I mean, where the heck did he go in the points?
He's in sixth.
Right, but I mean, didn't he dominate the very beginning? He was winning the races, I think, if I remember right. But
no, I mean the two races at Daytona, he got wrecked in the first one. I think he came back a little bit better for the second one. He won, I think, the second round maybe.
is that what it is?
Yeah, he hasn't had a stellar year.
And yeah, asking about the playoffs was a little bit of sarcasm. Because there's no playoffs, there's no wins. It's just points. All right, I'm actually going to give this to Brad, Donnie, because I'm guessing he's probably looked at it. But have any of y'all who've taken any look at the schedule, what do you think so far?
Like I said, but the IMSA one, I mean, I don't know. We were just at Portimao, whatever, Algarve, 2 weeks ago, and now it's week 2. This season, it's like, what? Come on, we just ran this track 3 weeks ago. So, I mean, you get the normal ones thrown in there with IMSA to kind of coincide with the real races, but yeah, it's stale. I mean, I know they try to blend IMSA and WEC, but I don't know. We run the same tracks over and over again, outside of putting 1 or 2 new ones in there.
So I think the big change is I look at my BMW M2 and they're running every 15 minutes instead of every 30 now. And they've done that to a bunch of these lower series where they've doubled the amount of races they are per day by cutting, instead of ones that were every 2 hours, now they're every hour. Or if they were every hour, now they're every half hour. If they were every half hour, now they're every 15 minutes. And so I'm just worried about how is this going to affect participation, because we're all going to be spread over more races. Is it going to make a lower car count?
Well,
Every 15 minutes, like you can run a race, qualify all that within 15 minutes and join another one, or are they going to overlap?
They must overlap. I mean, qualifying is 8 minutes, warm up is 3. So that's 11 right there.
I don't know. We talked about this last week where they had taken either some time or laps away from some of the races to where people could get back into them, maybe in 30 minutes or whatever. But I think we talked last week. I expect it's going to hurt participation. I mean, when there's more options to race, I think it's just going to thin the field. I mean, why? Let's look at NIS. What do we have? Over 600 last night. Why does that happen? Because you can only, there's only 4 open races to run. So you got to get it one of those 4. It's not, you don't have an option every 2 hours.
Well,
We'll see.
I think, before they released this, I think iRacing came out with some statements about this, and they said, okay, some of these races that we have high participation in, we're going to do them more often. And their reasoning is we can justify it because there's enough. For example, ARCA. We talked about ARCA a while ago. So they're going to have races every hour now. And they said, we think there's going to be enough drivers because that's a high participation event. Draft Master, they shortened it to, I think, 16 laps. So you can run back to back to back. I think it's a good idea because, I mean, there are a lot of times I'll go on and I'll want to run a race, and it's like I got to sit and wait another hour and 45 minutes. So I'm glad they're doing this. I hope it works.
Look at the ARCA schedule. They're racing on all cup tracks except for Langley. So from what I remember back in the ARCA days, I thought we ran a lot of more of the Saturday night tracks, but I could be wrong. I don't want to misspeak, but it looks like
That's ARCA East and West.
yeah. So it looks like they're running all cup tracks. Oh, except for USA and Langley. Not too bad.
ARCA Main Series pretty much sticks to the cup tracks. So they're usually companion events.
I don't know. One of the things we talked about last week,
There's a few exceptions.
in regards to the more frequent racing, one of the things we talked about last week is the concern that probably going to reduce people's practice time. Not that Mike needs to worry about that, but most everybody else.
Yo.
All right. So Matt had a wipeout, didn't he, Donnie?
He sure did. Looks like he's running the MX-5 at the Roval, the Charlotte Roval, and he posted this to his Instagram. It says another save gone bad in week 13. So it looks like it's a week 13 official event.
Yeah, and they actually named the Week 13 series after Matt Malone. I mean, when you look at iRacing, in official, it says Matt Malone MX-5 series or whatever. And apparently he's running it all week long. And so if you guys want to jump in there, you can probably race with Matt.
Yep, and it's just a case of a car got upset, thought he saved it, but it probably his tires were already gone, and he was overdriving, trying to make up for the time he lost getting loose, and then he went into the wall and torpedoed right back on with a ricochet.
A little argy bargy.
He looks like a guy that could be related to Saul Goodman.
Speaking of Matt, he's one of the announced guests at the Sim Gaming Expo this week. Who else is coming? Donnie?
It looks like Racewear, 4D Racewear will be there. Lawrence Dussois. Heiskenveld. Simucube. Matt Malone, like you mentioned. Dark Fusion Systems. I'm not sure what that is. And that's what we got listed so far.
PC building company, or they sell PCs.
Yeah, this is good. I mean, we've been basically getting about a drop a day, it seems like, this week.
It's finally taken off. And look, Simucube is not only coming, they're his sponsor. They stepped up to sponsor this. So congratulations to, what was the guy's name, David? I forget.
Jorge. He actually said he goes by George too, but if I see that spelling, I end up saying Jorge.
Jorge, congratulations, bud. Now that he's got, Heiskenveld and Simucube, I'm sure, and I think somewhere I had heard Gomez, but is coming too. But look, now that you got those, the rest will come. We need Moza, we need Sim Magic, we need all these guys. I hope everybody shows up, man, because we're going to be there.
As a matter of fact, since we're updating on the Sim Gaming Expo, we have our booth reserved and paid for.
Nice.
And the good news, I think, David, is the location that we were able to get for our booth is very centrally located. Tell the listeners, like, if you're standing in our booth, what are they going to see around us?
Well, if you're thinking north to south, there's a big, large, in the north central, there's a big, large gaming area, basically. And then in the South Central, there's going to be a the podcast stage, right? Because both us and into the Apex are going to be there using the stage that they're setting up for us. And then there's going to be some columns on the outside as well. Well, we're on this little island between the podcast stage and the sim gaming area, right in the central aisle.
Yeah, the esports area.
So that's where they have the tournament, esports, whatever. So yeah, I expect heavy traffic.
A couple others I'm expecting that I would hope we'd see would be Advanced Sim Racing. They're just up in Canada. I would hope we'd see Track Racer. You said Gomez.
Podium.
Podium 1. Did we ever get any? Have we heard anything from Sim Coaches? Is Lawrence coming? Do we know?
No, they're not going.
I'm going to stop by his shop tomorrow. I'm going to let him know of all these other people showing up. Maybe convince him a little bit. To show up.
Yeah, I mean, just the first time we got one in North America, that's like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, and look, the racers, the iRacers out there, the listeners, we need to show up in force, guys, and support Jorge and what he's got going here. So this thing is a yearly thing, like as we're planning our booth, and I'm working with Bobby Jonas here on the big old banner we're going to put up on the pipe and drape behind our booth. I was telling Bobby, look, we can't make this specific to this year. We're going to reuse this banner each year we go to this expo. And so, I'm hoping that it's an annual occurrence, but we really need the first year to really, be all fireworks, and I hope everybody shows up.
Yeah, and the website is simgamingexpo.com, guys. You can register there, get your tickets.
All right.
We don't. One
Go
more
ahead.
thing, David, on this. I don't think that we personally have a coupon code for this, but I know SemiCube does. And so if you guys go to SemiCube's social media, you'll find the code.
Or wait till you get ours so we can get credit for bringing you in.
Yeah, do that too.
All right, John, tell us about the Apex This Racing League.
Yeah, so new season going to kick off next week. This is road racing 4 nights a week. So if you like to do that, this is something to check out. It's free. You got a chance to win a trophy. There's going to be 2 divisions. There's going to be Pro and Mid Pack Larry. I'm not sure where that name's from, but they've got over 1,000 members. I think if you go to apexthis.racing, you can get the season details. This is season 23. So check it out.
Yeah, Tuesday, BMW M2, Thursday's MX5 Cup, and Skip Barber Formula 2000, Saturday GT3, and Sunday P Cup Porsche. I might do that Tuesday night one, BMW. I'm going to check that out.
All right, Brad, I believe you might be running the Sebring 12-hour. I think it may be you and Justin doing it together alone.
I don't know. So, so we got just a week after next will be the iRacing Sebring 12-hour. It'll be all the normal times. This will be, GT3, GTP, LMP2. So, one of the best endurance races all year long. The actual real race is this coming weekend. So, we'll see. So I'm kind of curious what the weather's going to be. Last year, this was the first event that did actually have rain, and I believe it started wet and was somewhat of a mess off the beginning. I did not get to race in this one, but so looking forward to it.
So which, entry are you going to run? The one during Saturday or?
Yeah, I mean, we typically do the Saturday one. So a little bit different this time. I will not be able to start. So I don't know to the teammates, we ain't got enough to field a car yet. So
me and Tom did have done it we did Sebring last year with just 2 of us.
Yeah, you can do it with 2. It's just 3 would be a lot easier.
If you do, though, just go ahead and play just the two of us over and over and over through your headphones. You'll be set.
Or it could be like the 8 hours that you and I did, and it was all by myself.
I don't remember doing that. Is that because you ran a lot more than I did, or
Yeah.
okay?
That's after we got wrecked, and I think you went to go fly a mission.
That's right. Okay. Well, what else is happening this week while we're wrapping up the events?
It's week 13, so there's a plethora of special content this week. Just to hit a few of them. So the 13-week prototype challenge, you got the funny forecast. So that's, crazy weather. Shiny new shakedown for the ARCA cars. I know a bunch of the guys have been running that. Got the legends as well.
Wait a second. You said they're running special events during week 13?
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's weird. You said crazy weather. So I was like, they're running the endurance events.
Oh boy. So iRacing, NASCAR iRacing series this week, Las Vegas. So that's staying normal. You got the GP tour starts this week. This will be week 1, Phillip Island Circuit, and most of the other stuff is off this week. All of the year-long stuff, the dirt car super late model, is all off this week.
The Formula One Grand Prix Tour and the Mercedes AMG F1 W13. That's intriguing to me. I mean, I've gotten in that car before, and it's just so fast. I can't keep it on the track. I'm not talented enough, but still, that sounds pretty cool. All right. Podcast housekeeping. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform to make it easier for more listeners to find the podcast. Mention the podcast to your fellow drivers so they don't miss out. We would appreciate it. Check out our Discord and get involved in the discussion, or our show notes are at iRacersLounge.com. We're in regular rotation at Performance Motorsports Network, and get your merchandise at iRacersLounge.shop.
All right, who took it home this time for fantasy at Phoenix, Brad?
Yeah, so Cup Series rolled into Phoenix this week. We had Mike Wuju with the win, 254 points, followed by Matt Robb 40. Third was Dollar Cents. Fourth, iRacing Mason. Fifth, Silver Mustang 9-1 maybe. And shout out to Fat Boy 1990 Tyler, one of the teammates that made it there in 6th. As you can see, my name is nowhere on the list this week because I fell like a rock.
You got Catherine Legg in your list, or?
Absolutely not. So, multiple compounds this week. What do you think? I'm not a fan.
I think it's stupid because there's one tire they clearly want to run over the other one. And so it's just like, okay, they're just going to run the other one just to, satisfy the rule.
Well, they only get 2 sets of the fast tires. What's really holding them back, they need to eventually try to work their way back to the fast tire, but what's holding them back is a fear of another Indy.
Well, I think they've shown that that's not going to happen. But I don't know. They need to do something. I don't have an issue with a softer compound, but this is NASCAR.
Bristol was not that far away.
It was fantastic.
They could not, yeah, but if it had been so bad they could only go 7 laps, it would have been a nightmare, and they would have been wanting to wring their necks with the tires.
But just remember, we went right back there in the fall with the exact same tire, and there were no issues.
I'm curious how running 2 tires has changed how they set up the cars. Because, do you set your car up solely for the soft tire where you have more grip and keep it looser? And then you're just terrible on the hard tire? Or are people trying to go more 60-40? Or I'm just curious how that's changed how they're setting up the cars.
I'm gonna guess that dirty air versus clean air is still so much more of a change that's more what they're gonna do with their setup versus worrying about the tire.
And do you have to leave a set of the softs in the pits for that late restart? Like, don't touch it, you know?
Well, that's what they did. I mean, there were guys that went on them early to get track position, and then they only got 2 sets. So, like I said, it's just not a fan of it. It's not what NASCAR is. I understand Goodyear's trying stuff, and I appreciate that, but we just need to have one tire, plain and simple. So, this week we're at Vegas. So, nice to get back to the 1.5 miles. Expect the racing to be better. Not a fan of Phoenix on the sim or in real life, but
now we spent a lot of time before we go back. We spent a lot of time hampering about cutting the track in the sim. They had track limits apparently on restarts.
Well, you can't go below the line on the restart, so that's what got you.
And change lanes.
Yeah, change lanes. So, but look, you watch the Cup race.
He changed lane.
Yeah, but you watch the Cup race, they don't go down there every single lap because 1, it hurts, and then 2, it damages the car.
And who do we like at Vegas? I mean, Penske, Gibbs, Hendrick.
I think
probably the usual.
Yeah, the usual suspects. So I don't know. I think there's some concern in the Gibbs camp. Ty Gibbs can't seem to get out of his way, so he's been on a plummet since last year.
My younger boy's a Bell fan, so he's pretty excited to potentially see 4 in a row. So
he about won this race last year.
I'm hearing it's Denny's last year. No sponsor for next, and they're looking for somebody for the 11.
He's still got a year left on his contract, though. I think he's good through 26 was the extension.
Just have to drive one of his cars, maybe. I haven't listened to his podcast at all this year, but who knows?
All right, so overall, after Vegas, we've got Res Dog in the lead with 737, followed by Cletus, 545, Silver Mustang third, Boats and Hose fourth, and Mike Owuju in fifth. So, and again, shout out to the only Tifosi guy up in there in ninth, Tyler, Fat Boy 1990 in ninth.
I think he's going to take the Tifosi crown.
He's the only one that stayed up in there last year, too, so.
I failed to update a roster, so I'm already way behind the 8 ball.
You're playing Mike's playbook. All right, let's open up the hardware section, starting with a DDX from Precision Sim. And it's flashbacks to prison. DDX from Precision Sim, and it's a little Instagram clip, basically.
It's a teaser. I don't see it for sale on the website yet, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice DDU. Looks like it's probably about a 5-inch screen. Instead of the raised LEDs, it's got the inlaid one. So no, it's nice. It looks good.
It shows a release date of tomorrow, as we record on the 13th.
Yeah, and look, everything that Precision Sim Engineering makes is just like primo. Okay, so I expect that this is primo by the visual look of it. It definitely looks it.
Next up, Sim Racing Expo attendee Huskinville has the Mag Shift Mini. It's compact, heavy doodle, and I guess it's a sequential shifter. What do you think of this one, John?
Yeah, so I took a look at this. This thing it's tiny. I mean, it's a miniature version of I guess their larger, mag shifter. But this thing it is sequential, and what you can do is adjust it so either you can have you can adjust how much pressure you have on upshift or downshift. You can make it smooth, make it click, but so it's an adjustable system. It's just very small, and I think this one replaces the one that I actually bought last year, which is also a very small unit. Nice looking thing. I guess if you have limited space, this is a good option.
Stubby little fella.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. They teased this for about a week, and was really hoping for an H pattern. Was what I was hoping they were going to release, but that's okay.
It's kind of short and fat. Stubby, I guess is a good word. Stubby.
Where is your
Yeah.
guys' shifter, the top of your shifter set in relation to your body?
So I've got the Fanatec, what is it, the CSL or whatever. So it's, I mean, I don't know.
The top of the
It's-
lever.
top of the lever is just a little bit
Mid
shaped.
belly.
Yeah, probably.
It's even with the bottom of my racing wheel.
Interesting. Mine's about chest level. So it's actually right in the middle of my oval rim is how high mine goes.
That's way high.
You in a rally car or what, Donnie?
What shifter you got?
I got the OC Racing, OK Racing, Octane
That's
Racing.
right. That's right. Yeah, that's a taller one. That's the only. See that I love the one from Huskenfeld. You know, they're a big one, but again, that what bothers me is the height of it. It's just I think it's just way too high.
259 euros.
I don't personally, I'm not going to be in the market for a just sequential shifter. As long as the one I've got's doing okay in sequential mode. All right, next up, we have an Instagram from SimLabs ASMR. So let's have our guest have a look at this one if you'd like, Robbie.
That is a beautiful wheel. Wheels like this kind of make me not regret, but I don't like that I'm in VR when I see wheels like this because I want to get something like that and enjoy it, but I feel like I'm kind of wasting my money. But just visually on that rig, it is beautiful.
The SimLabs Mercedes F1 replica Lewis Hamilton wheel, basically. George Russell, whatever you want to say. But I mean, you can't beat it as far as it having that F1 look because it's literally a replica. You gotta say this has got to be one of the best wheels out there. You know, the price is extreme. I think it's 2,000. Is that right?
Yeah, it's probably
Yeah.
more than that.
Maybe 2,500. I forget. But yeah, this is SimLabs, which is known for their cockpits. Yeah.
It's got crap loads of buttons. If you're in VR, you wouldn't. I wonder if you could get a version without the DDU for cheaper. But otherwise, yeah, it definitely looks very functional. Interesting that its rotaries actually go to 16 instead of 12. I've not seen that before.
I would imagine that's what the Formula One car has. So
And there's a video that went with it too. Did anybody watch the video?
I
Yeah.
did.
Go ahead, John.
Well, yeah, I mean, the guy did a review 15, 16 minutes long and put it through all the tests. I mean, so he said it's a really good wheel, but he pointed out, I think the obvious, and that is, well, do you want to spend 2,000 on a wheel? Because you don't have to, but if you got the money, this is the one to go with. It's got everything you need. It looks great. Those dials, I mean, it had a good sound, like good solidly built piece of equipment. I just think it's a budget issue for most people.
It is because you can get a wheel just for a few $100s that functionally pretty much does the same thing. Like the next one, David.
Which is a Moza FSR2 Formula wheel. And you can tell it's got clutch pedals. It's got all the knobs and buttons. 5 rotaries in the middle, which is nice. The Fanatec's only have 3, I know. Most of the buttons are well placed. There's 2 thumb buttons in the middle, might be a little hard to reach, but all the thumb buttons, all the buttons up in the upper right and upper left are well placed. The price is not too bad either, $649 US.
That's with the display. $650 with the display. That's
but
dirt cheap.
It is, but you will be running the whatever the Moza software is. It's like SimMagic. Some of the older wheels there are not compatible with SimHub. I know that Moza is planning to release. I think their next set of wheels with a dash will be SimHub compatible, but I know this one's not.
So I can't. It doesn't say, but it looks like it's 280 millimeter, not the 300 like I like.
That's itty bitty.
All right, Donnie. I know y'all are always in a budget crunch out there in California because of how expensive it is to live. So what can you get for iRacing for $10 or less?
Yeah, OC Racing put out this video by Modded Sim. It's a bunch of 3D printed products. The number one is bothering the heck out of me. Who on earth is going to attach a hex key holder to their rig and put their hex keys on the rig?
I wouldn't, but I have my little mouse tray that's the drawer, and I have a set of hex keys in there because I want to have them when I need them.
Would it not rattle if you had a bunch of hex keys dangling on the side of your rig?
If you got haptics like Bobby, I probably would. I don't have haptics.
Out of the 5 there, I see I do like the phone holder. Yeah, but the other ones I already have something up. But they did look nice. I'm just puzzled by the hex key holder. Like I don't see the need for it. But the other ones look great.
If you made it
Holder.
tight enough, it would work. I know Sim Gadgets, I believe, has one as well. I've looked at because it would be nice to have a couple of them, the common sizes that you can reach real quick to tighten something up.
The others are phone holder, cup holder, headphone holder, and the sim racing wheel holder.
Anybody use a wheel holder?
I went. Go ahead, Brad.
I have I have SimMagic wheels, so I use that one. So I have the one from SimMagic. So I have one, so I just alternate back and forth. So if I'm
Where do you
running
mount it to?
Mine is on the upright on the backside behind my monitors. So where my upright is, that's got the monitor and where the PC tray and stuff's attached.
I have coat hangers screwed into my rig.
I got one of my upright that Donnie gifted to me.
Yeah, it's one of the 3 3D printed items I made before I stopped that hobby.
It makes it easy. I mean, it's there. It's out of the way. It's not laid on the ground somewhere. So I love it.
Yeah, my $900 wheel's on the ground right behind me. So I gotta actually use one of the things I made for Mike for myself and get it mounted right.
What $900 wheel?
I have a GSI wheel.
Oh, excuse me.
It's probably like $850. It wasn't that crazy.
Well, that's $850 when we're talking 900.
I saved $50 and I only had to spend $900 to do it.
That's boy math. There you go. Go ahead and show it off. That's right. That's right. You can make us jealous.
I do like it. The clicky clacky is a little loud though. I didn't care. The wife cares, but I didn't care.
Just turn the volume up.
All right, Brad, what is a bloop?
I need to defer because I did not get a chance to watch this.
So
All right, go ahead, Mike.
I got it. So it's a software tool. There's a forum post and a Discord where you can get more information. But there's a video here from TDI 99 that talks about how to use it. And he's got a overlay on screen as he drives of the throttle trace, the brake, the clutch trace. that he's running real time as he's driving, but it's overlaid with somebody's fast lap. And so you can see the fast lap behind it, his actual inputs. So as he's driving, he can look up and see, did I brake at the same point that guy braked? Did I come to throttle the same moment he did? And you see the feedback real time. The problem I've always had with these type of tools is looking at it after the fact. It's the race is over. I'm looking at a bunch of lines on a graph and trying to make sense in my head of what I need to do differently. This, to me, really brings it all together, because as you're racing, you see what you need to do.
Okay, so I have no issue with looking at an overlay afterwards. I think I'd be more concerned trying to, one, hit the corner while I'm trying to look at the overlay on a graph and everything else.
I got a couple of things. First of all, half these yahoos can't keep a straight line just doing that. But I mean, that's borderline cheating there. He's right. I mean, afterwards, fine. I mean, we have it in real racing where you can go back and watch somebody's lap. But I mean, while you're in the car,
than running the racing line?
Because the racing line isn't actually the fastest way around the track.
I was about to say, if you follow the racing line, it's actually going to slow you down. So please go ahead. But most series you can't run it either, too. So
it gives you it can be used for basically for marks.
But you're not using it for off another competitor, though.
It can be whoever's lap you load.
Yeah, but why don't we just pull any setup that we want?
You used to be able to do that.
It's kind of the same thing. You still can too.
Well, part of the video he talked about was, the downside of this is, the video that you're comparing to might have been at different weather. It might have been different conditions. It might have been a different setup, and so if you're in a fixed setup and you're comparing to some alien in an open setup, I mean, is it really going to line up? Probably not.
Well, and that's, I mean, I use VRS. VRS is going to be typically very similar track conditions that we're racing at that week. So I like that because I can go back and I can overlay my lap against what the setup guy's done. And for me, it's useful because if you know the track, it's easy then to say, okay, I'm getting in too late. I'm getting in on the brakes too hard. I'm not getting on the brakes hard enough. And then when you go back out, you can try to recreate that, and then you can overlay it again, and you see where you improve. I mean, that's the way it works. Like Bobby said. I mean, you do that in the real world. That's the whole thing with SMT. It's one of the reasons I think the Cup Series has gotten so stale, is because everybody knows what everybody's doing now at every single track. So it there's no advantage. Denny Hamlin had an advantage for years on the way that he rolled the corner on a short track. Well, now anybody can look at Denny Hamlin's throttle trace and his brake trace and go, oh, okay, that's how he did it.
In iRacing, you can only get telemetry if somebody gives it to you.
Well, I think these laps, this integrates with Garage 61, I think, if I understand it correctly.
That's right.
So that's where you're going to get your comparisons. And to Mike's point, when you select a comparison lap, if you're running a fixed setup, you can select a fixed setup run to compare it to. So you do want to match the setup you're running with the telemetry data.
Good point.
I just don't think you should be able to have this live in your car.
All right, this next one is definitely right up Mike's alley because you put your seatbelts on. I wouldn't be surprised if you go ahead and start putting a window net beside you as well.
Yeah, so this guy has got a nice, clean rig set up, and he's got the window nets, guys, on both sides, and it's probably the best looking window net I've seen because he's got this nice quick release system that he's developed, with his 3D printing and whatnot. And so he goes through how he designed it, the different parts, and how to put it together. And it's pretty nice. So he's able to bring the quick release down for the net so he can step into the car and sit down. and then quickly just stick it right back up, and it connects.
I've got a couple of those triangle widgets sitting in my closet with the rest of my sim stuff.
It's just fun what people try to do to on their own enhance their own hobby, enhance their own setup to whatever they want to do. It's just interesting. I would never put window nets up, but it's cool to see people just doing what they want to do, having fun with it.
Yeah, it almost looks like he's got a PVC rig, but he's got so much body work and dash and everything, you can't even see it.
I think the PVC is holding up like the roof panels and the lighting, it looks like.
Oh, that's like we said, that's the beauty of this hobby is you can go from a G29 and your laptop on the kitchen table to getting as immersive as you want to. And so wherever you want to land, somewhere in there you can.
Yeah, so this guy's YouTube channel, guys, check it out. Third Wheel Exclusive. He's got a pretty lit rig.
I really should show this one again to Mike or just anybody. Raise your hand if you get too hot when you're racing. All right, Donnie, take. All right, actually, nope. Let's let our guest take that one. I saw your hand.
I could sure use that. I got a big box fan at my feet that I use to keep cool, but that seems like a much better solution, something that goes into your seat and pumps air over your shoulders. I would love something like that.
Yeah, I like it. When I was building my inline ventilation for my SWAS and SWALs, I thought, man, I wish I could connect it to my seat just like this. But so I got mine over my right shoulder here, my little vent, and then I got one pointed down below. But the feet would be a great option. But the only concern I have with this one is the fan itself. Like I have two big inline AC vent fans that I have bolted to the rig. And I have two controllers that I can control the flow of the air. But this is nice. This is giving me inspiration to possibly do something about the back, venting it through the back of my seat.
Does your air blow down your back or does it blow over your shoulder?
It's like, so right now I just turn it on to, it's hitting my neck and it kind of funnels down.
Okay.
So what we're looking at, folks, is Etsy page with a listing for the NRG seat. There's little triangle holes for the seat belts on the upper left shoulders, left and right. And so what he's done is he's 3D printed a piece that will fit into those seat belt holes where you attach hoses to that a fan blows air through. So you got air blowing basically through the seat belt holes over your shoulders. Pretty cool idea. One of our listeners put this up in the Discord and said it works great. I had asked, hey, would this work with me using real seat belts? And obviously not, because the seat belts have to fit through the same hole that they're using to attach the 3D printed piece. So if you have seat belts, this isn't actually compatible. But if you don't, hey, it's a good way to build a cheap pool seat for $140.
Yeah, I would actually be interested in asking this guy to sell just the inserts for the seat alone, and then I could work on the rest.
I'm sure he
Right.
would. So yeah, the if you go to his shop, he's got different, not just strictly the NRG. He's got some other different shaped NRG seats, also race quip, an OMP, and a track racer as well. So options outside of just a traditional NRG. Etsy is like the rabbit hole for sim racers.
Well, how many of these next items could be hidden in a rabbit hole, John?
6. The answer is 6. So HSW.sim, they're going to release sometime this year, early this year, the world's smallest sim racing button box. I'm not sure what the size is, but it is small. It's just got 6 buttons on it, no frills. I just set up a new button box, actually a Stream Deck XL. So this probably wouldn't be for me, but if you have limited space or you just want 6 buttons, like, this is worth looking into.
I guess the best idea to get a sense of scale, the second and third picture, you can see the USB-A connector.
So looking at their
That's little.
Instagram, looks like they are going to be at the Sim Expo as well.
Yeah, I think that's where I found this. They said they're going to be at the Sim Gaming Expo. So looking forward to meeting them and seeing their product.
You look at these and sometimes you'll look, okay, this is small, not much to it. But there's always a market for anything. I mean, this is going to fit somebody's needs. There's somebody out there that would say, that's perfect for me.
All right, Mike, what is meta haptics? It's probably something with motion.
Yeah, it's a motion deal that Podium One Racing is selling, and they've been showing it off on social media and stuff. And so we found a video from Meta Haptics that basically talks about their setup. Now, this isn't actually motion. This is haptics within the seat itself, is what I understand. So they have it all built into the seat.
That might be neat to try. I know that Joe, our teammate, has a G seat, and he's actually kind of gotten tired of it.
Yeah, he said it was uncomfortable. Now this one is $1,000. I couldn't believe the price, and there's not a lot to look at. I mean, they show kind of a rendering of a racing seat with, and it looks like electricity flowing over it, kind of thing, to kind of simulate, I think, the idea of the built-in haptics.
We got a video in the script too. I think but unfortunately, I think it's mostly in German, so it's kind of hard to understand what they're saying.
And the video really doesn't showcase the product much either. I mean, they show a picture of the seat, right off, on the thumbnail of the video. But yeah, more to come. I really hope I get to see Podium One and what they have to offer at the Sim Gaming Expo.
A product like that might be kind of hard to showcase with the actual haptics being built into the seat. I guess it's more of a, you use it and that's when you realize how good it is. Me personally, I use Next Level Racing HF8 haptic feedback pad on my seat, and going from a butt kicker to that, I found to be a lot better just because it's a lot more localized. The butt kicker more just shakes my entire seat because I only had the one, whereas having that pad, it kind of localizes the different feelings and adds a little bit extra immersion.
I've learned with haptics, you have to have it as close to you as possible. I mean, it really makes a difference.
Yeah, it looks like with this seat, it breaks it up into 4 quadrants within the seat itself. So, yeah, looks interesting.
It looks interesting, Donnie, but does it look lovely?
I'm not sure because we didn't get a good look at it, but lovely dashboard for Moza Vision GS. So this is a posting by Lovely Sim Racing and Moza, introducing the new Lovely dashboard for Moza, a brand new partnership that brings the Lovely dashboard to a new platform. And I've just recently installed the Lovely dashboard via Brad's advice, and it's been fantastic.
Yeah, this is for the Moza Vision GS. As if you guys remember, that's the one with the circle dashboard in the middle that stays somewhat centered as you turn the wheel.
Oh, the one that has a little bit of lag that would drive me crazy because it doesn't quite stay perfectly centered.
Yeah, that one.
So I don't think Mike thinks it's lovely.
I'm sure the Lovely Dash software that they're showing is lovely. I'm just not thrilled with that piece of hardware.
I've got a Stevie Wonder song stuck in my head now. All right, I see a rig by Smart Pro, it's called Smart Pro by Rest Tech Simulation. And this is interesting because it's aluminum, but it's not your standard aluminum profile.
It is different, isn't it? From Italy.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's you've got. I mean, there's obviously some sort of insert that's going in those channels. I just don't know exactly what it is, but
Even the profile itself, though, is quite different.
it is. It is. I mean, it looks like you got more of your traditional channels on the inside of it, but yeah, it's I don't know. I still don't like those slanted back uprights. I just don't like it.
I'm not sure what kind of play this might have, too, if you look at the fact that it's got the two short horizontal connectors at the top that then connect to the mount for the wheel, I guess.
I'm on their site. It's an Italian site, and they have every single one of their cockpits is a different design of some type of material. It's interesting. The one we're looking at has a like early '90s Terminator 2 vibe to it. Yeah, I was trying to look up a price, but it's definitely it piques my interest a bit, just the way it looks.
Those black tubes going up the slanted uprights, if those are hollow, those would be great for cable management. It could really make a rig look very clean.
And they got those, I want to say they're pneumatic pedals. I forget who makes those with the orange fronts. Yeah, cool.
So they don't have the black tubes on the site, so it looks like that's an addition. So I think that is what that's for, is to hide wires. But the one we're looking at, stripped down, just chassis, is 1100.
That's not terrible. I just know if you go with something like this, you're limited in the long run. And if you go with anything that's not your basic 80/20, expanding it. I just plan on not expanding it. Oh my goodness. Brad, do you have buyer's remorse after looking at this one?
No, this is too big in my opinion. So this is a 10-inch USB DDU. This is from Ryuto store. Not the first ones to put out a 10-inch dashboard, but I think the first ones we saw this large one was with the grid with the Porsche wheel, a Porsche DDU. It's nice. It's just big. It's way too big.
Yeah, I don't know. It blocks too much of the screen for me.
I mean, it's just if you run the Porsche, it'd be fine because it's probably going to be about the same size as the Porsche dash is in the car. But anything smaller than that, I mean, it's just going to take up. I mean, it's 10-inch screen, so then you might as well throw probably what another half, 3/4 inch on the side. So now you're talking about something that's at least 11 and a half inches wide. Oof, that's really big.
Let's talk about what a DDU is for. Why did we end up with this product? What led to the rise of a DDU? It's really triples and not being able to see the dashboard, because when you have the right, FOV with triples, you can't see the dash. And so this product is really just for that. Like, they have a small display right above your wheel, so you can have some simple dash, information that you can't see on the screen.
Well, it also replaces wheels that don't have their own DDU.
Yeah, I mean,
it replaces the cell phones people used to use.
Yeah, I mean, I did the cell phone thing, and then I mean, look, even with triples and the proper FOV, I can see the dashes on most of the, like on the roadside, I can see that fine, but there's just not a lot of interaction with the dash and the sim. So the one thing the reason I added mine was because I wanted more information out of that dash than I can get out of the sim. So that was the main reason for me.
Yeah, every car I ran, for the most part, I could see the dash, except the Indy car. That was my decision making in buying a dash.
I do think it's a little silly, the third one, where you've got a formula wheel with its own DDU and the DDU right above it.
Well, and I toyed with the idea: do I just do a standalone DDU, or do I wait and try to do buy a rim, formula rim with a built-in display? And it's just like the ones I wanted were $1,500-$1,600, and I can't do that. I picked this up for $200, so I'm good
And
to
you
go.
run an oval rim, so you could probably use it with your oval rim too.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. The Cup car, I could see the Cup dash, but like to get in the Xfinity or the truck, you can't see. If you set up your FOV right, you can't see the dash at all in the Xfinity or the truck. So it's fine. So and then followed up after that one, we got another one. This is by Printed Sim Racing. It looks like about a 5-inch, probably a 4.3 or 5-inch. It's 3D printed. I looked at those two when I was searching for mine. But ended up going with a CNC, aluminum DDU just because I think it looks better. Some of the 3D printed look okay, but it's 3D printed. But it's not a bad looking one.
Yeah, I'd go with the metal too.
Options. We have lots and lots of options. That's the nice thing.
All right, well, it's about that time. Let's jump right on into the NIS results, Mike.
Can we spend Mike's money first?
I guess we can.
Yeah.
I'll just cut that out and I'll just do a little edit. So forget I said that. Mike, they want to spend your money. Which topic do we want to skip to before we jump to results?
Well, the spend Mike's money topic is from, guess who? Moza. They say a game-changing lineup of innovations drops March 18th, 5 days from today. Sneak peeks coming your way. Stay tuned. And they show a video of the active pedals from Moza that I'm very interested in. I'm chomping at the bit. I mean, I already have the money earmarked for this. I've told myself I'm going to wait until there's a review out, and it's hard to wait, but I'll probably wait. But yeah, looking forward to what Moza is going to announce. There was also a teaser below that of a shifter of some type. Looks to me like maybe a sequential and H pattern, but it's hard to tell.
If they're going to do the same thing that most of the other ones do, I'm sure most of the guys already have stuff in hands and they've got reviews and they'll be ready to drop them on the 18th.
That's right. So this may be coming up faster than I think. Like this time next week on the show, we might be going over active pedal reviews from Moza. Let's do it.
All right, it's time for results. Let's start with NIS. Mike, hit them up.
Yeah, Friday Open, NIS Phoenix, Tony Rochette, P14, 19 cautions, stayed clean and in the top 10 till about 2 laps to go. It was taken out by a guy that couldn't hold it and turned 2. Brad wrecked again.
Yep, just the constant story with Phoenix last week. So started P7. Was in the top 10 most of the race, only to get wiped out by somebody bouncing off the wall on the exit of turn 2, in typical fashion. No sorry, no my bad, no nothing. People make mistakes. Just own up to it. Spent the rest of the race just trying to get the damage fixed, and then only to get a passing under yellow because people can't catch up, when they're coming out of the pits. So, crawling to the restart, absolutely crawling, waiting for somebody to come. And I probably should have just stopped because I never crawled. He got by me before we hit the line, but I still ended up with the passing under yellow.
Even if he does get by you, you now miss the restart because you're off momentum.
Yeah, it's just Phoenix was a disaster with the whole race control and stuff. So, but yeah, I'm glad to say goodbye to Phoenix. Super fast car, just continued to it's just what it is. So,
all right, John, P23.
So, Brad, you just said something about race control because something was messed up in this race. I don't know what it was, but anyway,
they cut a lap out. Same thing they did Atlanta. They cut iRacing cut a lap out, and it just you couldn't do a lucky dog. If you got lucky dog, you did not have an opportunity to pit. Same thing in Atlanta. It was just a disaster.
It was okay. That makes sense. I didn't realize that. I just knew something was way off. And you're right. You couldn't fix the car, or you couldn't get your lucky dog. It happened to me over and over again. But anyway, P23, we had 18 cautions, 54 laps, so I don't think I need to say more about how this went. We had a guy driving the 3 car, caused 7 or 8 of these cautions. And as always the case, he finishes in the top 10 on the lead lap. That's the way it always goes. This guy wrecked me 3 times. First time was on lap 1. This guy, he was a menace. I never could get the car completely fixed because of this race control problem. So it drove like a boat the rest of the race. It was awful. But yeah, the cautions, whatever it was they thought they were trying to accomplish, was a monumental failure. By dropping that lap, you just couldn't get anything done. I'm glad we're done with this track for a while. And I'm not going to blame it all on the track. I just can't drive it very well. So goodbye, Phoenix.
You get
Yeah.
100% race at it later this year, John.
Yeah, well, so they basically had it set up for quickie cautions because I was a lap down like Friday night. I was able to pit with the leaders and not get a penalty. So, which is typically what happens, Bobby. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if NASCAR's going to do a quickie yellow, they'll let everybody pit together, right?
Yeah, pit row opens to everybody.
Yep.
But you can't. But if it's a lucky dog, you can't pit, or you won't get your lucky dog.
Right.
Yeah, that's the problem I had. I didn't know. So I was a lap down for quite a while. Well, the whole freaking race because of that guy. But I didn't realize that you could go in with the leaders. So there were 3 or 4 times I didn't even get to pit because I didn't know about it. I just didn't get it.
And because the pace car comes out so fast, and the pit is on the back stretch essentially, right, instead of the front stretch, and that just makes everything go stupid.
Sunday Open, David, P7.
Yeah, not terrible. I did get wrecked with about 30 to go. Was running in about that area. There was a car on fresher tires that passed me, but he used his stuff up, and when I ran him back down, he got on the throttle too soon, bounced off the wall, and hit me. The damage was only about a minute or so, but I still brought it home P7.
Right, Tony Rochette, P20, got to race with Donnie, and the first part was okay, but second half of the race was a shit show. Was wrecked by a lapper with 5 to go. Sums up my iRacing career. Wrong place, wrong time. Donnie, how'd you do?
Sunday morning. I don't remember.
Okay. Tyler Williamson, P7, Wreckfest. 8X all from other drivers. Not my favorite track, but I'll take the top 10. Sunday fixed. I started near the back, got my way up to the front, led some laps for a while, and had a slip. I fell back to 5th. And then the guy in 3rd basically wrecked, and I couldn't miss it. And too much damage. We're done. DNF. Justin Pearson. Well, let's just say the iRacers Lounge Chevy had one hell of a week. It was a roller coaster. First race, my buddy BW turned broadside in front of me, and the dog leg meatballed. Second attempt was leading, coming up to the green white checker, dropped the hammer just a little early, got black flag for jumping the start. Third attempt, halfway through the race, I was leading, came into the pits, got caught speeding, put me in the back with the squirrels. Didn't end well. But now let's talk about the 4th attempt. Winner, chicken dinner. I dominated this thing. This was way easier than the other races because I didn't do anything to self-sabotage my race. I just hit my marks, stayed up front, led 105 of 156. The most important thing, 0x, baby. Big thanks to my boy, Bobby, the best spotter in the business. Couldn't have done it without him. Bobby, you and me were watching up above, and you were calling his race. How'd he do?
He was smooth. He was by far faster than everybody else. Just the consistency and smoothness was just pulling him car lengths every time.
And he was driving away from him on those final restarts, huh?
And some of it's kind of funny. Guys will fight for position, even though you could tell they're faster than somebody. They will fight for position and lose themselves any opportunity they have a shot at winning.
Because they end up using their car up, they end up letting other people catch up. Sometimes it's just better for you to let the other guy go.
Yeah, they would have been smarter just to back off, let tires cool down, and go back at him. But hey, I mean, guys had fresher tires than he did, and he was just pulling away because they were so interested in battling each other and just not paying attention to what was going on.
All right, moving on to Las Vegas Wednesday Open, P5. Now, see if you can follow me here. This is a crazy race. So I decide right before the race, I'm going to try to make the Discord overlay work because we had like 10 teammates in there, and I want to kind of see who's talking.
So
Huge mistake to do this right before the race.
Yes, you jump into the race with a minute before the start, and then you're going to go ahead and play with Discord.
That's right. And so I enabled the overlay thing, and guess what? I get a huge gray rectangle covering all three of my screens, and I can't see nothing. Now, this was on grid, okay? So then I can't seem to turn it off. So I do a task manager, I close Discord in process, and it comes back. Okay, I roll off pit road. Well, I got to get Discord back up and running. So I talk to my guys, I fire it up again, and the same thing happens. Now I'm already rolling, and I run it into the wall because I can't see. So I hit the escape key. I get on pit road. It says miss start. Okay, I've missed the start. So while I'm waiting for the start, I jump into Discord settings. I turn off the overlay thing. Okay, fixed. So then green. I hit the thing to get in the car, and it changes 4 tires. So I change 4 tires before I even roll off pit road. So I do a few laps. The caution comes out. I decide I need to get my damage fixed because I hit the wall when I couldn't see during the roll off. So I pit, and as I roll up to the pit, I'm like, I don't want to use any more tires. I go to uncheck them, but the crew had already walked out into the pit box, and even though it was unchecked, they still changed the tires. And so I lost a right set of tires as well. So by lap 8, I had used up 6 tires. And so I basically double stinted my tires. 20 lap run, everyone pits, I stay out. And it worked out. I only fell back to about 20th. Eventually, I got on the same cycle of tires as them, worked my way up to the end, and finally got a nice P5. David, P8.
Fix the fracking marshalling. That's all I got to say. We had a nice long green flag run, and I was really ahead in the exchange. Like, for example, Brad ran in front of me most of this race. I couldn't see him on the relative after green flag pit stops. He was back there somewhere. And I'm in the lucky dog position in P9 when something happens. I never went back and looked at it, but there's a wreck that involves people who are all lap down. So I'm in the lucky dog position. I go ahead and get the tires. A whole bunch of people take the wave around, and in that process, guess what? There's a car coming out at the last second getting damage fixed, and it makes all the wave arounds let him by.
Well, you had delayed green.
You're jumping ahead of me. He's coming out, and it makes all of the wave arounds let him by. As a result, 2 things happen. Some other person got damaged because when a car in the wave by process suddenly sees let somebody by, they panicked and slammed on the brakes and crushed his nose in. Okay. And then the chaos from that, we get a delayed green. Now, instead of getting to start P9, I get sent all the way back to P23. We've got to fix the letting people coming out of the pits late get a position on the field. It's got to be fixed. This needs to be in a season 3 priority. It's ridiculous for a lucky dog to get to suddenly lose a spot to all the people who were behind him when the caution came out. That being said, because I had fresh tires and all the wave bys didn't, I passed almost all of them. I was about to pass Brad when the next caution came out, and then ended up finishing P8.
Okay, Tony, P15 had a fast car. He couldn't keep tires on it. Made the mistake of not pitting with 30 to go. Chris Waldron, P21. Simwraps gave us a white Waldron's Furniture Chevrolet Camaro that was a rocket with a premier setup under the hood. We were comfortable in the top 10 until about 50 laps to go when we got doors slammed. Damage took us about 3 minutes to fix, but we were back on track with fresh tires and 20 laps to go. Unfortunately, we got caught up in a wreck going to turn 1, stayed out only to get collected again. Despite the setbacks, we limped it home in P21. Brad, P7.
Yeah, P7 started P17. The PRS set was really just a rocket this week. Car was super consistent and fast. Was really good on the long run. So drove up into the top 10. Eventually got to the lead for about 29 laps. Like David said, we ran. I mean, it was a long run. I think I pitted with about 6 laps of fuel left. But right after pitting, ended up with the caution coming out, so a bunch of us got trapped a lap down. But ended up taking the wave around. I think we maybe had, I don't know, 7 or 8 laps on the tires at that point. But was able to drive back up to P7 after the last 2 restarts. Again, car was just super fast. Going to give it another shot tomorrow night. But yeah, that was fun, David. You got inside me. I think at one point, and it was just, it was fun. That's the most fun I've had in a while. So, I mean, for the most part, the racing was really clean. I didn't really have any issues with anybody. Yeah, just unfortunate time for a yellow to come out.
I did figure out I was having the loose handling issues a little exaggerated because I left my throttle on my sports car setting instead of my cup car setting. So it was causing me to get a little too heavy on the throttle in halfway up.
Right. Yeah.
Donnie, P18.
Yeah, so I had an adventure. I ran the race thinking I had something wrong with my system. I felt underpowered. I was able to basically full throttle the whole race. Still managed to run top 10 for the most part, but I had to be like on point to be able to run in the top 10. Then faded back. It was very momentum based for what the heck was wrong with me. And David stayed in afterwards to see what we could figure out. And due to my brilliant calibration, I have a sliver of brake that I was dragging the entire race. And that was keeping me down about 200-300 RPM.
Is that like handicap in golf?
What Bobby was saying, and it is true to a degree. I was joking, like all the way through the race thing, I'm down a cylinder, but I was actually faster than a lot of the folks just cruising around 300 less RPM than them. I didn't have to brake for the corners. I didn't have to do much, but again, I had to be on momentum. And if I lost that momentum, then I lost.
Yeah, you don't really keep that momentum to the corner.
Yeah, the sim coach's pedals, they have some slack when you're not leaning on them versus when you're leaning on them, even if you don't press them. And you have to kind of, when you're calibrating, you need to have your foot on them and maybe even push it in just a little because they're that sensitive. They'll detect if you're just touching them with your foot.
Yeah, and that's what it was. When my resting foot, I didn't have the minimum set like I did before. And I'm dealing with programming software changes right now. And we got that squared away last night. I actually have a new version that I'm trying out for him. That's been great so far.
So like for my brake pedal with the Huskenfelds, I actually have a little bit of dead zone set right at the bottom. So
I didn't set it.
Yeah, I would suggest have a little bit of dead zone there just in case you do rest a little bit. That way you don't have to worry about it.
Well, that's what I had him do is I had him lean on it and push it in just like 1%. And I haven't switched off the old software yet, and you can actually just manually add in.
Yeah, that's what
you can move the minimum. So if the minimum is supposed to be 333, I would bump it up to like 337 on the output or input, I guess.
What I get for going with beta, I could tell you I have no idea what the heck beta means, but I didn't even know I was doing anything beta. But I am now, so it's a process. I'm learning something, I guess.
You just got to try again now that you fixed it. Bobby, P11.
Oh man, definitely was one of the fastest cars. Tony was too. The driving standards kind of horrible nowadays lately. Guy decided to lift me going in the corner, just kind of shoved me a little deeper than I wanted to go, and I shoved my car up into the fence, and it was just never quite the same or as fast after that. Tried to hold on to some track positions. We didn't think that many guys would pit, and a whole bunch behind us ended up pitting. with I think Tony said it was about 30 to go. I don't think it was that many, but that just what the damage wasn't probably the right call. But it was just a frustrating race.
Okay, Tyler Williamson, P7, started 33rd, laid low, saved tires every chance I could, steered clear from the chaos, and managed my race. Fresh tires with 60 to go and no cautions. Saved enough to race all the way up into the top 10. Felt really good to have a fast pace and manage my equipment. Thursday Open, I got a DNF. Started 22nd, worked my way up to 11th, then got involved in a big wreck. I couldn't avoid it. 7 minutes of damage. Then I was just riding along trying to recover anything that I could, and the computer power just turned off. Didn't restart, just off. I turned the computer back on. I poked around. I couldn't figure out what happened. So I don't know. So I don't know if I have a problem or not, but not good. David, P10.
I was running good again. We had a green flag pit stop again. I pitted from 10th, and as it was cycled out, I was running 6th and was going to finish 6th. And my VR goes black with 5 laps to go, but I can still hear the sound. I call out over chat, I'm blacked out, and I get on the brakes and turn left because I know a turn's coming up. Then the screen comes back on. I'm almost completely stopped, I think, on the front stretch, and it does bring the caution out. But either way, it cost me positions and definitely reshuffled the field. But if I didn't stop, I was afraid I was going to cause more damage. I actually think because we were running so clean for so long and I was away from so much of the traffic, I actually think the VR thought I was inactive. So I'm going to just start making a habit of turning my head every few laps, even when I don't need to.
Is there not a way to turn it off in general in the software?
I don't know. I haven't looked in that because I don't want it to stay on all the time when I set it down. So I'll have to look into that, whether I need to start turning it off and on manually or not. But yeah, I think it timed out. That's my best guess because as soon as I got to a stop, I don't know if I moved my head or not, but it came right back on.
All right, other racing I ran, the DW12 IndyCar at Pocono wrecked out. Then Gen 5 at Talladega started 40th, finished P6. Man, that's fun. Supercar at Michigan wrecked out. FIA F4 at Lime Rock got wrecked out. And then Carburetor Cup at Monza, I was actually leading and got wrecked out. All right, final thoughts. Greg Hectus.
Just looking forward to racing a couple races this weekend. I'm off this weekend, so hopefully get something done here. I haven't really dabbled into the new updates yet, so see some of it. Looks like it's going to be interesting, but hoping for a good race at Vegas. Phoenix wasn't too kind to me.
All right, Bobby Jonas, final thought.
I'm going to take one more stab at NIS tomorrow night. Sunday, I got to be at New Summer Speedway with my son, who is testing a Legends or a quarter midget again for the second time. So hopefully that'll go a little bit better than it did last time.
All right, you're starting him early. That's pretty young. How old is your son?
He just turned 7, so this will be his second start in the quarter midgets. First time he was 6.
All right. Hope he has a good run. Brad Wren, final thought.
Just glad to get Phoenix behind us, get to some more normal tracks. So been a nice kind of a break of a week. So from week 13, spent the weekend kind of completely redoing my triples setup and everything. Changed my mounting hardware and everything. I'll touch base on that next week because I put it in the script. But super happy with that. Just kind of nice to take a little bit of a break and we get back to the grind of multiple series starting next week. So, and just excited to start planning for the trip to Chicago, September. So, getting ready to, tickets, flights, and all that stuff. So, excited to be able to see you guys, and just excited to meet listeners.
Yeah, I think it's time for us to probably book our flights and rooms next. So, yeah, looking forward to that. David Hall, final thought?
We got a majors race this weekend. It's GT3s at 3 different tracks, depending on which regions you want to run. I know Tom is running all 3. Tom's goal this year is to be like a masochist when it comes to how much he races certain things.
Iron Man is what he's going for.
Oh, okay. I'm just running Road America. I guess, Brad, you're running Road America. I've turned some laps there. Slower than you. I don't like the GT3s. They just don't suit me. I don't know why. So that's just about it. NIS is going better for me this year, partially because I refuse to look at the standings or really even be concerned about getting a good points day. I'm just racing. I am going ahead and finishing every race if the car will still drive, just so that I don't continue the 1,500 point iRating slide. But it's going better this year than it did last year.
Yeah, you don't need to look at the points. Just let it ride. Donnie Spiker, final thought.
Yeah, I installed that SimDid DDU that Brad referred me to. He helped me get it on board. I was actually moments away from just pulling the plug on it and sending it back. The only reason I bought it was for the IndyCar, and I could not find anything anywhere that would give me what I wanted, the front ARB, the rear ARB, the weight jacker. And when I was looking through Lovely Dashboard, none of that really indicated that. And I took the car out on the track just to mess with it, and it automatically accounts for those boxes down at the bottom. And it was just like a huge weight relieved, and totally on board with it. I'm 90% installed with that. I still got to tinker with some things with the rev lights and whatnot. But going to Vegas this weekend. Tomorrow morning I'll be headed out for all 3 races. Be stopping by Sim Coaches on my way out there, and should be good.
All right. Very good. John Curley, final thought.
Yeah, looking forward to doing NIS Friday night. Kind of, the ups and downs that we have doing this. The first week, Daytona, top 10. Go to Atlanta, top 10. Like, man, I'm going to be really good this year. And then I hit Coda. And then we hit Phoenix. So I guess, maybe it won't be so great, but I'm having fun with it. Going to try to do every race. So looking forward to Vegas.
That's the beauty of NIS. It's a grind. Just go try it and to see where it shakes out. All right, Robbie Swan, special guest. Thanks for coming on. Your final thoughts.
One thing I forgot to mention earlier, something pretty cool that me and my friends noticed a couple days into week 13. Greg West and about 2 or 3 other iRacing staff members were in the hosted sessions racing off-road trucks versus AI. So it seems like they were doing a little testing. Hopefully we see some AI off-road trucks and some AI dirt oval sometime soon. Other than that, like I said at the top of the show, I've been listening for a couple years. I just want to thank you guys for having me on, and not only that, but your dedication to doing this podcast weekly. I've tried to help with a podcast before. I know how much work it is. I know how hard it is to come back and do this every week. Even though you guys all love sim racing, it's a big commitment. So thank you to each and every one of you guys for doing what you do to grow sim racing. And thank you. And thank you to all the guys at Racecraft for helping me achieve my goal, and Pimax and Next Level Racing for supporting me.
Yeah, thanks for the shout out. We do appreciate that. It is a labor of love. Congrats to you on the Alien Award as well. My final thought, wow, I did an impulse buy. I was talking with my buddy Chris about the Stream Deck XL, and he was like, Facebook Marketplace, dude, that's the way to go. And I had almost bought a brand new one. They're like $250. But the next day I looked at Facebook Marketplace. Sure enough, found a guy. It had one for sale. He said for $1. So I ended up buying it from him for $140. Had to get the Clorox cleanup on it. It was kind of smudged, but got it cleaned up, and it's like brand new. Got it programmed, and absolutely loving it. What a great piece of equipment. This is definitely going to enhance my sim racing experience. there's a plug-in that has iRacing specific buttons, and I literally have 3 pages of buttons that cover anything and everything you could put a button on for iRacing. And so just shaking that down and trying to make that work and loving it. And obviously looking forward to Moses active brakes coming out within the next week. And with that, hey, we'll see you on the track later.